Welcome to What's Happening Now, an uneducated, unfounded, unrehearsed injection of decadent high-fructose corn syrup into your humdrum diet of bipartisan chickpea politics grown on some hippie commune in Oregon. We've got a delicious 5-course meal for you tonight, a subtle blood-red wine from the tucked-away vineyards of Kent State, a lush salad made with avocados, and a heaping helping of Greenpeace, a Microsoft appetizer a whole lot bigger and crunchier than you're thinking, a hearty filet mignon marinated for days in savory Khmer Rouge sauce and served with a side of genocide. And for dessert, let your sweet tooth blast through space with a healthy dose of Star Wars. If your taste buds aren't roared and ready, you can get your draft dodging ass back to Liberal University, because we're going all out on what's happening now. How do you do? Before we get to the panelists throwing ad hominems ad nauseum segment of our show, I think it's time for a patronizing moment of clarity from someone who is both a true voice of reason for our lost nation and actually knows how to add as well. You know, numbers and stuff. It's often easy to get yourself behind an ideal. It seems there's something in our collective psychology that yearns to hold a position and defend it against all detractors. But an ideology is akin to a virus, spreading and infecting the bodies of mortal men, as is a beaver plucked from its natural habitat and sent to live among penguins in Antarctica. In other words, they're nothing alike. The most efficient way to search yourself and your existence into this cold, unforgiving realityscape is to hold your ideology as incontrovertibly true and to force others to hold it by any means necessary. The road to inner tranquility is found only when you shut out all voices that would disparage your sacred beliefs and surround yourself with like-minded ideologues. This has been your moment of clarity. All right, today in our Fast Break Bulletin, we're taking a look at the Khmer Rouge and a few other hot topics. With me today is syndicated columnist and grand comrade of People's Republic of What's Happening Now, good old boy Josh.
Always a pleasure, Jack.
All right, Joshy boy, let's start with the big topic on our minds, the Khmer Rouge. What exactly is this Khmer Rouge that we've been hearing so much about?
Glad you asked, Jacoby. The Khmer Rouge is a socialist political party that has seized power in Cambodia and gained control of the country.
So they're socialists, so they're just like the North Vietnamese and the Chinese allied with them and stuff like that then?
Not exactly. They actually have a lot of tensions with the North Vietnamese and the Chinese as well.
But you said they're socialists. Aren't they all on the same page?
No, big negative on that one. See, the Khmer Rouge are Marxist in ideology, but that is combined with heavy nationalism and ethnocentrism. You could say there's a cocktail of them that's one part Marxism, one part nationalism, and one part xenophobia.
Well, that sounds like a mixture heading for a disaster, and not one that anybody wants to drink.
Yes, indeedy do. They are proving to be a brutal regime, particularly under the leadership of their current Prime Minister, Pol Pot.
Dude, this is a serious topic. You can't just make up silly names like Pol Pot. We're talking about a major issue here, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not making that up, man. He chose that name after coming to power. It's not his original name.
Oh, well, okay then. So you mentioned earlier that they're particularly brutal. How do you mean?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jack, and not really so glad that I have to answer that. You see, the Khmer Rouge are particularly xenophobic and obsessed with concerns over their existential issues. Due to some historical incursions from Siam and Vietnam, the Khmer Rouge are concerned that their state and peoples will not exist unless seriously protected. Coupled with their Marxist ideology against social classes and capitalism, the Rouge have initiated a policy of cleansing in Cambodia.
Oh, so like improved sanitation, health conditions for the poor farming population, stuff like that?
No, that's something that socialists in theory might do. These are actual socialists, so instead of medicine and improved living conditions, it's ethnic cleansing.
Jesus.
Yeah, don't say that over there. They also heavily persecute religious groups as they have a firm atheistic state.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're Marxists, so I assumed so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so I don't really want to even ask, but what's up with their ethnic cleansing?
Yeah, I don't really even want to answer, but here goes. The country has a population of about 8 million, but they're currently involved in a systematic genocide of various ethnic groups in the country. They are rounding them up and sending them to prison camps, Jack, where they are brutally tortured to extract falsified confessions.
Oh.
Yeah, this stuff's pretty horrific, man. Just gruesome killings and then left in mass graves. Bullets are rare in the country, so the killings are done with lots of blunt objects and handheld weapons.
Oh, God. Ugh.
Yeah, it's something like 1/8 to 1/4 of the population is currently being rounded up for execution and burial in unmarked graves.
Oh, God, man. Oh, look, when I suggested the Khmer Rouge, as a topic for this episode, I was just kind of offhand joking, comment. I didn't think it'd be taken seriously or anything.
Yeah, well, fuck it. This is actually an important topic, and it really shouldn't be forgotten, man. Even if it is just a couple schmucks like ourselves talking about it in a more lighthearted style.
Well, yeah, I mean, looking on Wikipedia now about it while hearing you describe it is pretty damn horrific. I can't even really fathom an appropriate response other than vomiting and whatever this we're doing is.
Yeah, it's that bad, but you know what? Talking about it is probably better than vomiting anyways.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so people are up in arms about this, right? UN is going to send in troops, stop the genocide, any day now, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Yep.
So they are?
No.
So no, they aren't.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so no one's doing anything about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, there's some saber rattling with the Vietnamese, but that's about it.
Okay.
Can we just please move on?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our second topic today, we'll be looking at the Kent State shooting.
What?
Well, when Nixon announced military action in Cambodia, major protests broke out in Kent State. The Ohio National Guard was called in, and they opened fire on a group of protesters, killing 4 and wounding a bunch of others, like 9, paralyzed a couple, I think.
Wait a minute, so you're saying the second topic is more killing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess it is.
I thought this was supposed to be a more comedic show.
Yeah, I mean, not really. This is current events, Josh, so these things are important and are indeed what's happening now.
My bad. Okay, so some of the protesters were shot and killed. This happens all the time, right?
Yeah, not really. Further, it's a really divisive issue as to what should happen in the National Guard. There's also the issue of the use of force on campus, the limits of protest and free speech.
Okay, I guess I get it.
Yeah, and it all happens with the background of the U.S. involvement in Vietnam.
So the country's falling apart.
Oh, yes, sir, most certainly is. The end is nigh.
You made me do this, Jack. Bill Nye.
No, he's the science guy.
Okay, well, speaking of protests, we will also be going over this little protest voyage to Alaska by the anti-nuclear arms group Greenpeace.
Yeah, they sound like pleasant chaps. It's a good name, too, Greenpeace.
Yeah, indeed. They are largely an environmental group, though they are heavily and visibly opposed to nuclear technology.
So power plants, not just weapons?
No, they say all nuclear is bad because of something or other. I don't know, some bullshit. I really didn't read too much about it. I just kind of skimmed.
Well, I suppose we'll have our panel discuss it here in a minute during warning shots.
Yeah, speaking of which, I can see the panel over there starting to get antsy.
Yeah, we better start wrapping this up and get over to them. What else you've got today, then?
Nothing really. Just some computer company called Microsoft and their bullshit.
Fucking computers. What the hell do we need those for? Computers are for a bunch of fucking nerds. Sounds like a complete waste of time to me.
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere at all.
Okay, well, I think the only other topic is that new space movie that came out, that Mr. Buck Rogers in his Star Trek Wars or something like that. I don't know. I don't really follow science fiction.
Yeah, I think it's called Star Wars, actually.
Yeah, whatever. It's got that guy in that rubber suit and whatnot, right?
More plastic. Darth Vader.
Ah, any good?
Well, the movie's okay. I mean, I'm not going to say it's as good as Metropolis or anything, but it's pretty good. Still not as good as Gotham either. Worth the price at the theater.
Okay. Well, I guess we can let our panel hash that out then. Josh, it was good talking to you.
My pleasure, Jack.
Up next, our distinguished panel of guests joins us for Once Around the Horn to discuss all these topics. We're going to take a break, and Josh and I will look at some photos of kittens to get over the discussion of the Khmer Rouge, and we'll have some warning shots when we get right back.
Has this ever happened to you?
Oh, honey, not tonight. I'm just not in the mood.
And then we'll add that sound effect in later.
Yeah.
Or this?
Get out of here, loser. I only hook up with douchebags.
Sad sound. Well, if this is you, then you're in luck because there's a new product hitting stores this summer that will make all these worries disappear. Introducing Vaseline, a new product from the Cheeseboro Manufacturing Company.
Wow, cool. But this looks just like a jar of slime. How does it work?
I'm glad you asked, son. The product is simple and easy to use. Just open the jar, grab a handful, and smear it on that sucker and let nature take its course. Unlike a living pole waxer, Vaseline is self-applicable. You don't need assistance for it, and let's face it, you aren't getting assistance anyway.
Wait a second. I've used this stuff before, I think. It comes in that black jar down by the oil fields.
Oh, no, son. You're confusing Vaseline with what those roughnecks call rod wax. While the two products are similar, rod wax isn't safe to use for those purposes. Observe the neutral odor of Vaseline. Repeat that. Observe the neutral odor of Vaseline. Unlike rod wax, no one will be able to sniff out what you're sinning. God damn it. Unlike rod wax, no one will be able to sniff out that you were sinning. Also, take note of its coloration and how easily it cleans up. With so little mess, the only sign of your crimes against your innocence will be the splotches on your pants.
Cool. I can't wait to get home and try it.
That's always good to hear, kid. Now remember, Vaseline does not substitute for actual companionship. Do not use Vaseline for conversational purposes or to have dinner with. The product may cause drowsiness and ruin hand towels. That's Vaseline. Don't be a frustrated loser any longer. Look for it in stores near you.
Coming this Thursday, it's the adventures of Colonel Patriot. Tune in to hear him go up against his greatest foe, Baron von Eurotrash. Colonel Patriot has sure found himself in a pickle this time, and can he get out of it, you might ask? Well, let's ask the man himself. Well, Colonel, can you?
I can't tell you that, good sir. You'll have to listen in on Thursday to find out. And be sure to look for Colonel Patriot action figures in the toy aisle, kids. Colonel Patriot action figures are a great way to show you're a true patriot.
Thanks, Colonel. I'm sure looking forward to Thursday. Now remember, tune in Thursday to hear Colonel Patriot and his sidekick Stereotype go up against their great foe, Baron von Eurotrash. This exciting story is one for the whole family and something you won't want to miss. And we're back. Boy, weren't those adorable kittens.
Yes, they really were, Jack. So cute.
Kittens really do make everything better.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they make this topic better. Okay. All right, welcome to Warning Shots. This is the segment of the show where our panel of experts hotly and quickly debates each issue. Today's Warning Shots are fired over the atrocities committed by the Khmer Rouge, an inspirational Kent State story that is sure to get the blood pumping out of a sucking chest wound. A savior story for the ages brought to you by Greenpeace. Science fiction comes to life thanks to Microsoft, and science fiction stays firmly in the imaginary realm with Star Wars. Let's meet the panel. He's a longtime contributor on the show, often called the most conservative man in America, the former host of the Maxim radio show, and she is a longtime contributor to the show and many liberal publications. And most importantly, Stefan's wife. Say hello to Stefan Maximus and his wife, Karen DeVideo Maximus.
Obliged. Hello! He's a lounge singer and a New York Times best-selling author of historical fiction, Mr. Landon Masters Jr.
Oh, it's nice to be here with you.
Thank you, Landon. She's been called the Countess of Counterculture, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Constance Grayson.
Impeach Nixon or whomever. And lastly and leastly, we have Common Street Trash mandatory panelist because the show's creators didn't read the fine print of his contract, Dan Goodman.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Okay, great. So let's get ahead and get the ball rolling here.
Yes, indeed. Let's jump into the deep end here. Josh, here's a set of earplugs for you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Khmer Rouge. Well, you're going to talk about the Khmer Rouge. Josh and I are going to go over there and look at cat pictures while you guys talk. We'll have these earplugs in. So here, just hold up this card here. There you go. When you're done.
But we all like to argue, so won't it run a bit too long?
We can edit it out in post. Yes, don't you know anything, you old fossil?
I can tell you're a real bitch already, Constance. I think I'm gonna like this. Here we go again. Remember who you're married to. Fantastic. Enjoy the conversation, folks. Stefan, why don't you take the first word? Do you think they are serious about this? I don't know. They look pretty serious.
Which one of them is the host? The host with the most? I think it's the ugly one.
Which one is that? I thought they were both pretty handsome.
Two good-looking men running the show together again. Oh my God, will you shut up?
You know, he really didn't say anything.
Fine. Well, I guess we should start talking about this.
You want to talk about the Khmer Rouge?
Well, yes, that's why we're here. It's super important, isn't it? The pot is in the killing fields, and it's murder, and it's mayhem.
Yeah, that barely makes sense, Landon. Just talk like a fucking person does.
Is this better?
I don't think so. I kind of liked it the other way.
On second thought, me too.
Okay, so just do whatever. Anyways, the Khmer Rouge. What do you think they meant take it out in post?
Post-production, you fossil. You said that joke about Stefan earlier. Shut up.
I always thought this show was live. Me too.
Oh, I don't think so. I think they record a week in advance. Yes, that makes sense to me.
No, that doesn't make any sense. They talk about current events.
Well, is it live?
Oh my God, let's just talk about Dan. Rather, let's ask him. Really?
I don't like him. He seems okay to me.
I hate talking about him too, but whenever he's here, he always knows this kind of stuff. Let's not ask him. I think we should.
Let's just vote. You're in favor of voting. On this, yes.
Dan, is this live or what? Well, yeah, this is on a delay, but not enough to do much with the tape. What? Whatever, Dan. Okay, so let's just not really talk about this.
But people are being killed.
Yeah, but it's like really uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, it's grisly and ghastly, but murder's not pleasant to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't want to deal with this issue. It's really grisly, and what can we even say about it?
I know, it's not like any of us disagree that this is horrible or anything, but man, I really don't want to get into it. Can't we all just virtue signal for a little while?
So you're all in agreement that the Khmer Rouge are absolutely horrible and are killing millions of people in a barbaric and inhumane manner and ought to be stopped, but you want absolutely nothing to do with discussing the issue or proposing a solution to it.
Yes.
Duh.
Of course, my man, good man.
Yeah, pretty much, Dan. Yeah, that... Fuck. I'll fix this. Yeah, that pretty much sums up how the world's gonna respond too. Okay, I'll flash this little sign and we can move on to the next segment. Typical. Why are you the one who raises the sign?
Yeah.
Because they gave it to me.
Maybe I should raise it.
No, fuck, sorry.
No, I should.
Oh, just let Landon do it. He's a fucking idiot. Alright. Constance, will you shut your damn mouth if I let Landon do it?
All right.
Here you go, Landon.
Thanks. Oh, I'm waving it now. Waving it now. I'm waving it now.
Topic. Oh, man. Cute cats. Good stuff, guys. I am sure that was an enlightening discussion for all.
Indeed. You guys got really heated there, and I even saw Dan was chipping in.
Well, moving along to our next topic, Kent State.
Specifically, the recent shooting.
Constance, take the first shot.
People have the right to protest, especially our government's illegal and brutal actions in Southeast Asia. What the National Guard did was criminal, and they should be pursued with the legal action that the law... What the National Guard did was criminal, and they should be pursued with legal action, and we should withdraw troops from Southeast Asia.
And just bury our heads in the sand over the spread of communism? Don't be ridiculous. You might be hot, very hot, but hot doesn't allow you to be stupid with other people's lives. Don't call her stupid. You want to keep it involving ourselves in affairs overseas? Look, sometimes things like this need addressing. Without us over there, these communist groups would be spreading.
There's nothing wrong with communism. It's your bourgeois capitalistic friends who are oppressing all the peoples of the world in their class warfare tyranny. We've got to oppose the Reds for all the atrocities they're committing. Look at the Khmer Rouge.
Okay, we're off track.
Yes.
Yep.
What I meant to say was let's focus on the legal responsibility of the National Guard and the students. Exactly. That's the real issue here.
Students have the right to a peaceful protest, but these protests got a bit out of hand.
That's no excuse to kill them. They have a right to free speech. Free speech doesn't include the right to harm others. Sometimes the structures are so oppressive and violent that you have to fight back against them using whatever means you can.
That's against every principle of civil discourse in our society. Look, these protesters didn't deserve to be killed, but they were physically assaulting the police who were lawfully executing their authority to disperse the protesters. That things turned violent was the protesters' doing. I can't believe what I'm hearing. My own husband thinks the protesters got what they deserved.
Maybe. Oh, maybe. He's just saying that the conflict escalated because of them. Killing wasn't their right answer, but they were the ones investigating.
Just redo the line.
Killing them wasn't the right answer, but they were the ones instigating the violence.
That's right. This indicates that we need more funding to law enforcement and the military to better equip and train our National Guard and police forces to handle these sorts of situations.
No, we need more funding to these colleges. These students were rightfully protesting the evil war in Vietnam and were using whatever means they had to fight the bourgeois fascists running this country. They need more education in the merits of socialism and Marxism running through all of their schools.
Wait a second. Isn't that the same reasoning people like the Khmer Rouge use?
So yes, there should be an investigation into the incident, and that's all.
Yeah, good topic, guys.
Fantastic, gang. Let's move on to our third topic, Greenpeace. Landon, you go ahead and take the first step. Take the first shot, at least. Greenpeace is a good-hearted group, but I'm not sure what business they have using direct confrontations to oppose the government rather than normal forms.
Yeah, these liberal fuckheads need to learn some manners. I understand the right to protest, but attempting to impede the government and officials from doing their job because you disagree with it is to say that your values ought to take priority over the values of everyone else. It's akin to tyranny. Look, they backed off when the Coast Guard showed up, so it's not that big of a deal. Their overall mission of opposing nuclear weapons and protecting the environment is a laudable one. I agree we need to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and protect the environment.
You pig, you can't just say that. Oh, really?
Yeah, look, God put us here to be stewards of the earth and to manage it. We ought to take reasonable steps and protect it. And as far as nuclear weapons go, other countries would be dangerous with them and would drive up the risk of an accident causing Armageddon. Oh, sweetie, I am so glad we're on the same page.
Yes, that is weird.
Look, I can support the cause's general ideas, but oppose their methodology, can't I?
The methods don't seem that bad to me. I mean, they did directly confront the government about it and try to impede them, but they also brought it to the point of conflict and then backed down. Isn't that a good way to raise awareness responsibly? Exactly. This was a peaceful protest voyage against the man. Good for them. Peace and love.
You know, for a totally snooty little bitch, you're pretty agreeable.
You pig. Look, Once again, sometimes you have to take more drastic measures. I think these people are doing a wonderful thing. We should all be less reliant on energy so that the world is a better, cleaner, happier place.
How does that even work? Don't we need energy?
Look, all we need is love. People lived without coal and oil for millions of years. We just don't really need it. It's just a luxury that the bourgeois capitalist society is telling you we need. Well, wait a second. Everything we do relies upon it. I thought Greenpeace was about finding more sustainable energies. Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I meant then.
Great stuff, but we have to start wrapping it up, guys. Second to last topic, Microsoft. This computer company has sprung up recently with the intent to manufacture computers for the home. What are your guys' thoughts on the computer revolution? Karen DeVideo Maximus, take aim. Well, I'm not much of an alarmist, but pretty soon computers will supplant all romantic relationships with fake, virtual ones cooked up by a bunch of microchips and vacuum hoses.
I totally agree, Karen. Life's about to get a lot easier.
Well, that's not exactly what, Karen. I'm glad you brought this up. Think about how much more efficient we'll all be once our relationships become completely virtual. How would that make us more efficient? Because we could get straight to the point about our feelings and not have to spend exorbitant hours thinking about what we're going to say next so as not to hurt the other person.
Yes, it'd be like a mind-altering drug, expanding our consciousness and connecting us to one another in just a network of peace and love. And sex wouldn't be such a goddamn chore. Get in, get out, get on with your life. How would you have sex with a computer? Karen mentioned they have vacuum hoses in them. So you use them as physical implements to have sex with. Exactly. Now, I'm nothing if not lady, but think about it. Women could stick the vacuum hoses where the sun don't shine and get the best head of all their 9 lives. And for men, well, those hoses would certainly have adjustable sizes for whichever hole.
Well, I'm beyond elated at the prospect of this. Why exactly do you need a computer to do all this?
Well, it's simple, really. You don't. The computer would act as a virtual partner, talking to you in some mystical computer voice and sending you to a higher state of sexual bliss.
Okay, yeah, this is exactly my point.
What do you mean?
If we built computers to have sex with, that takes care of one of our most basic biological needs. At the end of the day, it would be a second-rate replacement for another human being. Karen, I'm sorry, but I have to disagree. I think computers will finally bring about a new era of beautiful misanthropy, allowing each individual the chance to be an island unto himself.
Oh, yes, Miss Karen. It's time to embrace the future. You're born into this earth in the same manner that you'll shuffle off of it. Alone. Why not live your whole life under the same pretense? And you'll never have to endure another orgasm-free night again. Not that I do.
I'm sorry, but if human beings aren't having sex with each other, how are we going to survive as a species?
I won't pretend I already have an answer to that, but you'll have to believe the computers will figure it out.
Yeah, and even if they don't, maybe this is just natural selection at work.
Exactly. The advent of the home computer is basically the equivalent of humanity achieving true nirvana. Why would we ever want to continue existing after we've already reached our apex? Well, that might be going a bit too far, but I'd have to think that the day everyone around the world is too busy jacking off with the aid of computer is the same day that we should step aside and let the next guy take over. All right, I think that's a good place to segue into our final segment. It's broken every box office record you can think of and has already planted itself firmly into our pop culture. Panos, give our listeners one quick parting shot. Tell us all about Star Wars. Instant classic and beautiful film. A true great in every sense of the word. Can't miss it.
I've never seen a better movie in my life. I hope it spawns a franchise that continues on for generations. I sat through the entire ending credits with my jaw on the floor. Darth Vader is Luke's father. And that'll do it for Around the Horn. Thanks to our panelists, except, of course, for Dan. Fuck Dan.
Fuck you, Dan. Up next, I speak with former President Richard Nixon, who gives us his unique insight into some major world events. Don't go anywhere.
And now we have a special What's Happening Now World News Bulletin.
Hello, folks. I'm Kent Newsman, reporting for the London Gazette, 1066. 10 dead today as the old wooden bridge along Walham Road collapsed. Speaking to reporters at the scene, Safety Commissioner Dallas Winthrop stated that ye old tax dollars will be put toward promising results forthwith. Cause of the collapse is still being determined. In other news, Duke William of Normandy landed an army at Pevensey and began making his way towards the town of Hastings. When asked for comment on the situation during his victory party at Stamford Bridge, following his conference finals victory over King Harold Hardrada, King Harold Godwinson had this to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for a game whenever. You know, we're coming off a big win here at Stamford Bridge, which makes it really feel like we're bouncing back after the loss we took at Fulford. But, you know, I'm trying to just take things day by day and focus on what's at hand. But we've got some momentum now, so I think that's good. We just have to keep moving forward and take this good play to Hastings and give them the best game we can. That way we can look them straight in the eye and say we gave it our best.
When asked for comment on the new visor regulations, the King said that he had been playing his whole life in a league that didn't have visors and wouldn't be wearing one anytime soon. And that's the What's Happening Now World News Bulletin for today. This is Kent Newsman signing off. Dear, Junior is acting up again. I think you should have a talk with him.
Aw, shucks. I was just drinking a beer and watching the game after working in a coal mine all day. Can't you do it?
Yeah, but I have been dealing with him all day. It's your turn.
All right. Gosh. If only there was some way I could deal with this problem and still watch the game.
Bram! You sure are in luck.
Who are you?
I, good sir, am here to tell you about a great new product that'll solve all your problems.
It will get rid of my lung cancer?
No, but the next best thing. Try a brand new nihilism.
Nihilism? What's that?
Why, sir, it's the best new thing to hit the market. Just take one heaping helping dose of nihilism every morning and you'll be off to a carefree day. Got fired from your job? No problem. It was meaningless. Wife screwing your best friend? No problem. Marriage is without value. Feeling guilty about murdering a hooker? Don't. Human life has no meaning or value and there are no objective moral facts.
Wow, this is horrible. But at least I don't feel guilty about being the complete piece of shit I am.
And how? See how all your problems just melt away?
Yeah. Aside from the agony and discomfort, it's like I don't even have cancer because it doesn't matter what happens to me. Thank you, nihilism.
That's nihilism. Look for it in stores today.
Welcome back to the show. Our special guest for the evening is someone you probably never heard of, former U.S. President Richard Nixon. After losing a presidential election to the young lion JFK in 1960, Nixon came back in full force 8 years later and took the White House for himself. Of course, everyone knows Nixon for being the epicenter of one of the biggest scandals in U.S. history, the illegal lobbying practice employed by his rap label, Water for My Hungry Soul. Esteemed listeners, Mr. Richard Nixon.
Yo, wiki, what it do, jack off? Nah, play, I'm just messing with you. What it do?
It too. I'm pretty good, if that's what you're asking. So, before we jump into today's main topic, the Khmer Rouge, I'd really like to ask you all about what it was...
Hold up, Yak. I got something important that I needs to be saying to my fans, and especially to my haters right now. I know everybody be saying I'm like Vanilli, in Million Vanilli, but I want to set the fucking record straight. Just because I'm white, don't make me no fucking Vanilli. That's super racialist, and it hurts my deeply held feelings. Second, my middle name is Millhouse, dipshits. Millhouse is like a longer way of saying Millie. So right off the bat, I've got some mad street credits, cause I ain't no fucking Vanilli.
Glad you could clear that up for us. I'm sure our listeners are all the more edified for it. Okay, I wanted to give you an opportunity to share your side of the story in the foundation-shattering scandal that pundits and media outlets have since dubbed Watergate. It seems they pulled the name from your record label, Water for My Hungry Soul, and added gate to the end of it, the calling card of all slick scandal names these days. Who knows why, though? Anyways, what exactly happened here, Mr. Nixon?
Well, you know how it be. Couple years ago, me and my boys were sucking down some 40s and getting real hyped about the new single, High in the Oval, I had just dropped from my record label.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I know, baby. You gotta know it, too. Anyways, I hear some seersuckering, bitch-ass punk on the radio calling out my single saying, the lyrics and the beat are derivative, and why is our president releasing rap singles? Is he smoking drugs in the Oval Office? And I say to myself, fuck this man. So, I call up a few of my hard-hitting homies, who collectively refer to themselves as the President's Cabal. Anyways, you might have heard them drop a few lyrics on some of my fresher tracks, but they also lobby for me with some of my less cooperative government agencies. I get them motherfuckers to bully the FCC into pulling this radio bitch-ass's broadcasting license and getting that entire fucking station shut down. And the FCC do it, but I guess one of them FCC bitches called up the Justice Department, and now I'm in this lame-ass position.
Wait a second. You openly admit to perpetrating the scandal?
Yeah.
Damn, man, I voted for you twice. I mean, 3 times, but, one of them was illegally. So tell me, Mr. Nixon, how does it feel to be the first U.S. president to ever resign from office? Do you feel any sense of shame at all?
Look, Jack, I'm going to be completely honest with you, all right? Not one bit of shame. You know my story, homie. I came from nothing. Ain't had no money growing up. I just had this fire burning in me from day one to start my own rap label. And I know this was the 1920s and 1930s, and rap was very underground at the time, but I had this feeling that one day rap was going to be huge and was going to turn me into a somebody. So if I used my presidential powers to keep my dream alive, I can't really say I did anything all that bad.
Yeah, I mean, rap was, you could even say segregated at the time. So it's really kind of an inspiring story that you're sort of the one who brings rap back into the mainstream. But at what point did you decide you wanted to be president of the United States? You seem to value having your own rap label well above holding arguably the most powerful position in the entire world.
Man, I started to realize that even with all my mad street cred, I needed to get into a well-connected position to push my rap dreams.
So let me see if I'm following this correctly. Not only is the rap label more important to you than being the president of the United States, but you spent years upon years of your life building political capital and meeting the right people also you could one day become president and use those powers to help your label?
You know it, baby. One day I just said, fuck it, I'm going to be a politician. So I became a member of the House of Representatives, then a U.S. Senator, then a vice president, and guess what, baby? I took the V out of VP. Ain't a thing, man. And Watergate wasn't the only corrupt bullshit I pulled while in office. It's just the only one you heard of. And now with Water for My Hungry Soul being valued by Forbes as the 147th most valuable label in the U.S., I guess you can say it was all worth it.
Glad to hear it. Ugh. All right, Mr. Nixon, let's talk about today's main topic, the Khmer Rouge. It is strongly believed that extensive bombing campaigns against Cambodia by the U.S. military led to the destabilization of the Cambodian government, the Cambodian kingdom, the monarchy, a destabilization that was capitalized upon by Pol Pot and his Khmer Rouge as they would eventually seize power in the country. Is it safe to say, then, that your administration, which ordered the bombing campaigns in the first place, is at least partially responsible for the roughly 1.7 million deaths perpetrated by Pol Pot?
Look, Jack, I'm going to tell you something. Running a country ain't no easy business, but I'm also going to be completely upfront with you. I was high on PCP pretty much every waking moment of my presidency. So you can't pin this shit on me. I don't know nothing about no fucking Pol Pot or whatever bullshit is coming out your mouth right now. My mind is all about getting high and dropping beats. I'm from the streets, and I got to keep playing the game and stay a kingpin.
Well, I mean, PCP is a pretty potent drug, so,
Sure is.
But you don't even remember if you ordered the bombings in Cambodia?
Keep pressing this issue. Look, I probably did, but yeah, I guess I don't remember. Big fucking deal. Cambodia ain't no different to me than motherfucking Narnia. I ain't never been there, and I'm pretty sure it's all made up from some kid's book anyway.
Mr. Nixon, you're telling me that your actions, which inadvertently contributed to the deaths of almost 2 million people in just Cambodia alone and shaped the political fabric of the entire world, were fueled by the whims of your drug-addled mind?
If it ain't have to do with my rap label, I say fuck it. And that's a good policy that's taken me all the way to the top.
Well, that's good advice for the children, and I think that's all the time that we have with our special guest. I'd like to thank Mr. Richard Nixon for being with us today. but the words would give me a massive headache.
I just want to go on the record and say I'm innocent of all that bullshit people trying to say I did. I've been set up, and I'm going to keep fighting this injustice by keeping my rap label alive and pumping.
But you literally just admitted to all of it on this interview.
Oh, shit. This is an interview? You're not going to share it with a bunch of people, are you? I've been high on PCP this whole damn time.
Oh, that's good fun. Mr. Nixon, it was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, later.
We'll be right back.
Tonight it's the all-new Craptastic TV lineup. First on Mooter Avenue, Davis confronts Blake about his affair with Constance. But will Davis's own past with Cassidy come back to haunt him? Find out at 7. Then it's the all-new comedy Nutshots. Watch as the two screwball urologists navigate the ins and outs of dating life in New York City. Then at 9, it's Chore Break Island. Tune in to see whether Chaz or Derek does the dishes, and who gets evicted from the Arm & Hammer household. All of this and the news at 10, tonight on Craptastic TV.
Welcome back to the show. Now it's time for our final thoughts. Sometimes we find that we have entered into uncomfortable waters. We might be looking at facing down a brutally oppressive regime or having to grapple with serious social situations. Or it might even be as simple as a change in technology that we were unprepared and ill-equipped for. The bottom line is, when stuff like this happens, you have to turn inward and look at the reflective surfaces of our own psyche to see where we have erred. Sure, it might be easier to bury our heads in the sand rather than to walk a mile in other people's shoes and see what they see, but the real issue is how we all interpret our own actions and limitations, and whether that brings us to a newfound clarity or whether it muddles things further. When we find out that we have such things in a muddled shape, it is up to us to walk the highway of awareness and find solutions to life's problems. And that's today's final thoughts.
Well, Jack, well said, my friend. And with that, the show has come to an end for today.
Right you are. I would like to thank our panel of guests for joining us again. I suppose I'll thank our special guest, Mr. Richard Nixon. He did bother to come into the studio. And from all of us here at What's Happening Now, we would like to thank you for tuning in and hope you have a wonderful week.